Okay, Agriscience, let's take a look at some animal breeds. Last time we looked at some animal biotechnology and we looked at some careers in animal science, but really want to start focusing on some of the different types of breeds that there are with animals. We're going to start today by looking specifically, or at least on this video, by looking specifically at cattle. And so when you're thinking about cattle, you have to think about, are we looking at dairy cattle? Or are we looking at beef cattle? A lot of times when people are riding through a pasture, they just see cows and they don't think about what types of cows they're actually looking at. So the first thing we want to do is look at the difference between dairy and beef. And so down at the barn, we have dairy goats. And if we were to have meat goats, they would look very different than the dairy goats that we have. Yes, they're both goats, but one is going to be more muscular and meaty, whereas the goats that we have that are dairy goats are bonier and they are, their frame is more obvious because you can see their bones, and then you've got the whole udder situation that's going on with them as well. So dairy animals specifically are raised to give milk, and so there are four major breeds of, actually there's five, but there's only four in this curriculum. Holstein, these are your Chick-fil-A cows. These are the ones that have the black and white markings. They're going to produce a lot of milk. On average, you're looking at an animal producing, you know, gallons a day. Gallons a day. So you're not looking at just a little bit of milk from each animal. You're looking at you're looking at an animal producing a tremendous amount of milk in one day. 90% of the dairy cattle in the United States are actually Holsteins, and these are really large animals. And we're going to take a look at some pictures of them in just a second. So most of your milk that you get from the grocery store is going to come from that black and white Holstein. The Jersey is the second most popular, but these are small. And so when you compare the frame size of the two, you've got Holsteins that can stand 6 feet tall. And then you've got Jerseys that, are 4 or 5 feet tall. And so they're much, much smaller. These are the ones that you think about being so cute with the big brown eyes. This is a really popular breed for butterfat. So while the Holsteins are going to be the ones that give you a tremendous amount of milk, the Jerseys are going to give you, I don't want to say higher quality milk, but it's going to be higher fat milk. And for me, when I think about quality milk, I'm thinking about the good stuff like butter and ice cream and cheese and things like that. So for me, I'm sitting there thinking, milk's great, but I like the other stuff too. So Jersey is going to produce more of that butter fat that's going to produce those good products. Guernsey, there is a Guernsey farm in the county. If you've ever been up to Guernsey Girl Creamery, it's up kind of near Burns High School in the Pokeville area. And so Guernsey Girl Creamery, they actually have Guernseys. And the interesting thing about this breed and its milk is that it's kind of a golden color because the amount of keratin that they have. And so whenever you get milk from Guernsey Girl, or if you get cheese or whatever from Guernsey Girl, it has a little bit more of a yellow tint to it. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's just the color and the way that keratin is going to be synthesized in the animal's body. Agire is a red and white cow. And then I'm going to show you another one too, because there actually are 5 major breeds that we have in North Carolina. So let me just switch over here for just a second. And we're going to look up some Holsteins. All right. So this is the one that and this is a pretty cow. This is the one that you really think about whenever you're thinking about milk production. Again, the Chick-fil-A cow that you see on the sign. Now, why would the Chick-fil-A cow be dairy? Well, the reason is because A lot of times, whenever these animals are past their prime and they're not producing a whole lot of milk anymore, or they're having maybe some reproductive issues or something like that, they do still sell these animals to processors. So you can eat dairy meat. It's just not the same quality as what you're getting from beef. And so when Chick-fil-A has this dairy cow as their mascot, it's basically saying that when you go to those other fast food restaurants that you're eating low quality beef. So you're eating low quality meat. So that's why the whole dairy cow, when you should be thinking about beef cow whenever you're thinking about meat. But this is a Holstein, very, very popular breed. One thing about dairy animals, you can see their bones. And that's something that we talk about more in animal science. One is how to judge them. But these animals are not um, underfed, they're not malnourished. That's the way that they're built. These animals are built to produce milk. There's a really good picture of one right there. She's beautiful. Um, so, kind of zoom in on her a little bit. You can see her bones, you can see them sticking out. But what you notice even more is this massive udder that's producing milk. The veining on the udder is a good thing. That tells us that she's producing a lot of milk. So we want to see those milk veins on it. So this is a really, really nice cow. So that's what we're looking for whenever we're looking for some dairy cows. Let's go ahead while we're at it and take a look at a Jersey cow. Okay, so these Jersey cows, and this is a good picture of one right here. Again, you can see her bones, you can see her ribs, you can see those milk veins, though. So this is a very, very productive animal. Cute little faces, the ones that you kind of think about when you're thinking about the brown cow eyes. Not as productive as a Holstein, but for sure that higher quality butter fat from a Jersey cow. Um, take a look at the Guernsey. Well, my internet doesn't want to take a look at a Guernsey cow today for some reason. Let's try it again. Well, while we're waiting on the internet to decide that it wants to do its thing, the Guernsey is kind of a fawn colored and white, so it is spotted like the Holstein, but it's just spotted more as in kind of like a light colored brown, tan brown, and white versus black and white. And this Guernsey is not going to come up. I think we have too many people on the Wi-Fi in our house right now. So we'll see if we can come back to her. Doesn't look like anything's coming up. Okay. That's what happens whenever you try to do videos from home instead of going over to school where the good Wi-Fi is. Okay, well, it doesn't look like it's going to work to come up, but the Azure is a cherry red and white, and those are much darker red in color than what you'll see with something like a Guernsey. The other one I was going to show you is a brown Swiss, and the brown Swiss comes from Switzerland, and they are gray, and so they're really pretty. Not that I can show them to you, but take a look, Google whenever you have good internet, and those brown Swiss are fairly large, as well as like the Holsteins and the Azures, but they are what some people think of as a chocolate milk cow. There's no such thing as a chocolate milk cow. All cows give white milk. So the second industry we're going to look at is the beef industry. So we're looking at the beef industry. You have two of the most popular breeds in the United States are Angus and Hereford. And the Angus is going to be black in color. These are from Scotland. The thing about these is they are known for really good meat quality. You know, these days there's trends in the food world all the time. And right now, one of the trends in the food world is Angus beef. So when you go to the grocery store and you see Angus beef, it automatically triggers in your mind that that is a quality beef. And so they can charge more for it. And you actually could probably sell your Angus for more money than another breed. So Angus, very, very popular, solid black cows. The Hereford, um, I prefer um, the temperament of the Hereford over an Angus. And Angus can be kind of difficult to work with. They're a little bit high strung. The Hereford is much more calm. They're red. They have a white face, and they can be horned or they can be polled. So what that means is they have been genetically bred to never have horns, and so they're obviously born without horns. Otherwise, that would be extremely painful. And then they're never going to develop horns if they're polled. So we prefer polled animals because they're much easier to work with and we don't have to dehorn them. But they can be horned or polled. But they are red with that white face. Sometimes what we do is actually to crossbreed these two, which creates what we call a black baldy. And you see some of those around here. They're a black cow with a white face. And what you're getting with that black cow with the white face is really good, the meat quality of the Angus, but you are getting a little bit calmer temperament because you have that more docile Hereford. So a lot of people in this area breed the two in order to get the meat quality, but to make it an animal that's much more easy to handle. There are some exotic breeds. The Brahma was one of the ones that you had to look up for your um, assignment, and the Brahma is one of the exotic breeds that we're talking about. These are crazy looking. They've got the hump on their back, and they've got the droopy ears, and they've got the loose skin on the front of them, and they look like some kind of weird alien cow. But they grow fast, and they're really really good as far as work is living in our climate, because these exotic breeds come from India, and the climate in India is hot, it's crowded, and there's lots of people there, issues with diseases and stuff. So with those Indian breeds, they are acclimated to a climate that is um, hot and difficult to live in. So when we actually breed them into our breeds that we have already, which we're dealing mostly with European breeds, it helps to increase their disease tolerance and heat tolerance. So sometimes you will actually see breeds that may be crossbred between a European breed and an exotic breed. So when you have that, a lot of the times you have what we're calling American breeds. Now, there are absolutely no original cattle breeds that came from North America. Really, when you're thinking about animals that originated a long time ago in North America, the only ones that really started here, or maybe some mountain goats and turkeys. So all of these breeds had to be brought over into the United States. But what we've done is taken these breeds and we have created mixed breeds that are beneficial to the climate that we have. And they're able to withstand heat. They're able to be more disease and insect tolerant because we're mixing that exotic breed with the English breed. One of them that we've done that with is called a Brangus. And we actually have taken and crossed Brahma, that Indian breed, and then an Angus, that Scottish breed that we actually got to see a picture of a while ago. So that's one of the examples. Another example is one of my favorites. It's a Beefmaster, and Beefmaster is a cross between Angus, not Angus. No, I'm thinking about Brangus. A Beefmaster is a cross between Hereford, calm demeanor, and Brahma, insect and heat tolerant, And then they also have got shorthorn thrown in there, which is a milking shorthorn, which is a dairy cow. And the reason that they do that is to improve the milk quality for when they do have babies. So this was actually a breed that was created in Texas in the United States. So it's actually one of my favorites because we're looking at, using some of the best of the European breeds and some of the best of the Indian breeds, plus throwing in some cattle, dairy cattle as well. So the Beefmaster for me is kind of one of those that you're looking at in a total package whenever you're looking at that breed. A couple of pictures here that actually will come up. This is a Belted Galloway. These are sometimes called a toy breed. These were actually um, a Scottish breed. And so when you think about, again, those European breeds, when you think about those European breeds, they are in a cooler climate than what we have. And so you can see these animals are quite fuzzy. They do have a long hair. And so they're, more suited for a cooler climate than what we have. But a lot of times, people like to look at those little Oreo cows. And this one I'm going to show you because it doesn't even look real. This breed is real. This is not photoshopped. This is not some kind of crazy trick with the internet. This is called a Belgian Blue. And the reason that I have this one in here is just because it's so interesting to look at. And the reason why this one looks the way that it does is because it is what we call double muscled. Not only does it have the one layer of muscle that you normally think about on a beef animal, they have double layers of muscles. So, it's not been out in the pasture lifting hay bales or anything like that. This is naturally the way that it grows. So, if you're interested, check out some of the breeds on that Oklahoma State website that I put on that last assignment. There's a lot of interesting stuff out there. There's a lot of really cool breeds, and way too many to get into in class. But these are some of the ones that are most common. If you have questions about any of these, especially since my internet decided to freak out on me, please ask questions. Please look up some of these breeds on your own. If you haven't already done that, hopefully you've already done the assignment and that was a good preview for you. But we will next time talk about pigs, so be prepared to talk about some bacon. I will talk to you guys very soon.